With the release of the Thomas Adventure Blue Mountain Mystery just weeks away, we visited the Talyllyn Railway in North Wales, which was the inspiration for the Reverend Awdry's creation of the Skarloey Railway. The Skarloey Railway, as far as we can see, is the set-in for the new film. The narrow gauge Talyllyn Railway was built in 1865 to carry the blue slate from the Brynegloth's quarry on a 7-mile journey to Towyn, where it was transferred to standard gauge trains to take it to Abu Dhabi port. In 1911, a gentleman by the name of Sir Henry Haydn Jones purchased the quarry and railway, but the quarry eventually closed in 1948 after a collapse in the workings. Cheaper, more modern building materials also meant that demand for slate had reduced, and it wasn't worth repairing the workings. Sir Haydn Jones did, however, keep the railway open, serving passengers, but when he died in 1950, closure of the railway looked certain. An author by the name of Tom Rolt then got involved, talked the situation through with Sir Haydn Jones's widow and a gentleman by the name of Edward Thomas who had worked on the line for 53 years. Tom Rolt then formed a preservation society, and the Talyllyn Railway became the first railway in the world to be run by volunteers. Short of working engines, the society purchased 2 engines from the neighbouring narrow gauge Corris Railway. They kept their Corris numbers but were renamed Number 3 Sir Haydn and Number 4 Edward Thomas as a tribute to the Talyllyn's recent history. After a difficult start, trains started running again, but not without many problems for the volunteers. One of the early volunteers was a gentleman by the name of Reverend Awdry, creator of Thomas the Tank Engine, whose first book was published in 1945. Tom Rolt, a fellow author, asked the Reverend Awdry if he would write a story about the Talyllyn Railway, and in 1955 the Reverend published his 10th book, 4 Little Engines, which introduced the Skarloey Railway. It was based on his experience as a volunteer on the Talyllyn Railway and turned out to be the first of 7 books written about the Skarloey Railway. The 4 Little Engines, Skarloey, Sir Handel, Reneus and Peter Sam, were all based on the actual engines of the Talyllyn Railway at the time, although their colours are different from the ones we know. The Trackmaster trains used here as a comparison have also had some of their features compressed to enable them to get through the Trackmaster accessories, but the comparisons are still very clear. Skarloey was based on the number 1 engine Talyllyn, originally built in 1864 and several rebuilds later is still operating today. Reneus was based on the number 2 engine Dolgoch, originally built in 1866, is also still operating and has also had several rebuilds along the way. Sir Handel was based on the number 3 engine Sir Haydn, built in 1878. It had a few refits, but was recently taken out of service in May 2012, awaiting a major overhaul. Peter Sam was based on the number 4 engine Edward Thomas, originally built in 1921. It's had a few overhauls, but was not running on the day of our visit. Engine number 7, Tom Rolt, was the only other engine running. This is a relatively recently built engine, finally completed in 1991 and then named after the founder of the Preservation Society. As a tribute to the stories written by the Reverend Awdry about the Talyllyn Railway, the museum at Towyn Station has recreated the Reverend's study, which contains his original furniture donated by his family. The big map on the study wall shows the island of Sodor. The Talyllyn Railway today is largely as it was in the Reverend's volunteering days using the same trains. By travelling down the line, looking at the same scenery, on the same trains and seeing the desk and chair that the original stalls were written at, you really felt the inspiration to write your own. The large slate quarries of the last century now only exist as smaller ones, and modern transport techniques don't require the railways in them anymore. So the quarry inclines that once carried trucks full of slate up and down the steep slopes are now largely only visible in photos. The Blue Mountain Mystery film shows a large quarry at the end of the line, and in another region of the Snowdonia National Park we saw a similar quarry set in to the one shown in the film. The Blue Mountain Mystery is a new story, but by visiting the Talyllyn Railway it's good to see, from the trailer anyway, that the original settings and locations have been retained, with modern CGI filming techniques used to provide more action as demanded by us the public. Hopefully it's got the best of both worlds. We really enjoyed our day at the Talyllyn Railway. To find out more information about it, look up their website. Full details are in this video's description. Thank you.